All right, hello once again, Jeff Scott of Rankin Technical College, talking databases. In the previous three videos, we have gone in and using what's called the MySQL console, I have set up a database called ACME and put a table in there called employees. And you can see the table in front of you right now. The table currently has 10 records. Each record has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 fields. And the only field that's not required is the middle initial field. And you notice I left them off for 2 of the records. Again, this is arbitrary data that I've just made up off the top of my head. Now, I mentioned in the last lecture that there are some, quote, problems, unquote, with this. Technically, there's absolutely nothing wrong with this table. All right? And what I mean is, it satisfies a lot of what you're looking for in a relational database management system. It has an ID field, which is the primary key. It is an unintelligible field. It is a unique record identifier. But when you look in here, hopefully you've noticed that there's a lot of repetitious information. All right? And what do I mean? Well, you may or may not be able to get rid of that. Or maybe you can. And we'll look at that in just a minute. But notice, Missouri is in there. MO is in there 10 times. This is in there. What if somebody writes information technology in there once instead of infotech? All right? Or puts ACCTING in there for accounting. This is very possibly at least error prone the way it currently exists. So we're going to make some changes to it. Now, I brought this thing up here that is from Wikipedia, which talks about database normalization. And I'll leave that up there. But the idea basically is this. What you want to do in your database is you want to reduce data redundancy and improve data integrity. Let's just take a look at both of those. We don't want to put data in, any more data into the database than we have to. We don't want to put any more data into the database than we have to. All right? Notice it doesn't say eliminate data redundancy. You cannot do that. You need a certain amount of data redundancy to be able to link your tables together. You'll see that as we get going in here. The other thing we want to do is improve data integrity, especially when you're talking about, not so much the ACME Widget company, but if you're talking about an organization that their entire presence of the organization is an online presence, their data is everything. Since their data is held in a database, it's everything. So we're going to apply what are called some normalization rules. We're going to talk about first normal form, second normal form, and third normal form. It goes higher than that, but first, second, and third are fine. So what we want to do as we start with this, let me get rid of this, I'm sorry. Is we want to first go into what's called 1NF. All right? So the objectives of 1NF, which is called first normal form, is we want to free the collection of relations from undesirable insert, update, and deletion dependencies. What does that mean? We're going to talk about it in just a minute. Number 2, we want to reduce the need for restructuring the collection of relations. Number 3, we want to make it more informative to users. Number 4, we want to make the collection neutral to query statistics. All right? When an attempt is made to modify a table, undesired side effects can happen. Notice here, we don't want to have anything like this where we could have different addresses or different whatever. All right? So we don't want to allow that kind of thing to happen. So let's go back and look again at our table and think about this. Well, the first thing that I mentioned to you was the fact that what if we came in here and we came in here and we put in here, for example, information technology instead of infotech and kept it as a number 1. Right now there's nothing to stop us from doing that, and that's not a good thing. Long story short, I'm going to create a new table. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to create table departments. Okay? And that table is going to have in it, oops, and I made a mistake. So, try it again. Create, a couple mistakes in there. Create table departments. And that department table is going to have 2 fields in it. It's going to have a department name. And do we want that to be the primary key? No, let's make the department number. All right, so we'll have a department number, and that will be an int. All right, and that'll be of size 11, and it'll be a primary key, and it'll be auto increment. All right, then we'll have a department name, and that will be a varchar. And I think I want to go back and look and see what we made it before. Department name was a varchar of size 25. And not null. All right, so we now have a new table. So if I show my tables now, I now have departments and employees. Okay, so I want to insert into departments values. I'm going to try to put in multiple records here and see if it's going to let me or not. So number 1 is going to be info tech. It's not going to, it will let me back up here. Okay, it's going to give me an error. That's okay. Let me go back and try this one more time. So insert into this. I think I need an opening paren here. 1, infotech. 2, web design. 3, payroll. 4, I think that was shipping. And finally 5, which was accounting. Operate, it still gave me the same error I had before. Well, again, let's put them in individually, and I can put them in. I'll do this very quickly because there's not that much in here. So insert into departments values, and we can put null here because that'll be the first one, and that's info tech. Two will be web design. Well, I didn't. I should have put it in as null, but it'll still work just fine. So let's make this null. shipping. I don't mind doing this because there's not a lot that I'm keying in here, so. All right, so now let's select star from departments. All right, that's good. We've got that, and that's fine. But now notice if we select star from employees, we still have all this, and we don't need this anymore. All right, so I want to alter the table. I want to alter the employees table, and I want to remove the department name field. It's not needed anymore. All right, well, how to remove a field from a MySQL table. And you'll notice got Stack Overflow, W3 Schools. I'm going to look here, the dev.mysql.com, because that's the MySQL reference manual. All right, so let's see if we have an actual example here. Rename, drop, delete. We don't have a great example here, so let's go and look at a different one. Alter the table, drop column, followed by the column name. So let's try that. Alter table employees, drop column, dept name. All right, it says that it did it, so let's check. So notice what's not there anymore. There we have our department name right there, whoops, and now it's gone. All right, so we're cleaning this up. It's not perfect, but we're cleaning it up. I believe that right now that what we have is in first normal form. All right, the problem is, even though it might be in first normal form, I don't believe it's in second normal form. All right. Now, notice to be in second normal form, it says a table is in first normal form. If it's to go into second normal form, the table must already be in first normal form. All right? So, to be in second normal form, a non-prime attribute, okay, a table is in 2NF if it's in 1NF, and if every non-prime attribute of the table is dependent on totally on every candidate key. Well, let's try to put that into English. Okay? Right now, if we know the person's zip code, I'm telling you this, if we know the person's zip code, we can figure out their city and their state. Because there's the zip code for Wentzville, Missouri, the zip code for Lake St. Louis, Missouri, etc. So we could create a brand new table. That table, all right, could have the zip code, the city, and the state in it. Then from this table right here, we could remove the city and state. So let's do that. Now, we said that the city, so we got a city, a state, and a zip. The zip was a varchar. Let's go back and see if we can go way back up here again. So here we are. So the zip was a varchar of size 10. The state was a char of size 2. and the city was a varchar of size 20. So I'm going to create a new table here. And let's just call the table what it is. All right, it's going to have zip code, it's going to have city, and it's going to have state rather. So I'm going to create table, kind of a long name, but zip, city, state. All right, so that'll be my table. And that table will have in it the zip, which will be, let's not even do that. Let's make an ID. I don't know if I really want to do that or not, but I'm going to anyway. So ID, that will be an int of size 11. Again, that will be my primary key. And it will be an auto increment. We will then have the zip. The zip will be a varchar of size 10, and it cannot be null. What's going on with this? But all right. The city, which will be a varchar of size 20, and again cannot be null. And finally, a state, which was a char of size 2, which again cannot be null. All right, so now I have that in there. Why this is looking like this, but it is. All right. So let's start putting in our information. So I'm going to, in fact, what I'll do is I need to add how many records? A Wentzville, a Lake St. Louis, an O'Fallon, and a St. Peter. So I've got 4 records I have to add. That shouldn't be too bad. Now, do I put that in any kind of order? That's always up to me. All right, I'm just going to put it kind of in the order I have it. In other words, I'm going to insert into zip city state values, and we'll put in here null. Six 3385 Wentzville, Missouri. Take that, okay. Yes. All right, so there's the first one. Second, we'll put in here 63367, and that will be Lake St. Louis. All right, so there's 2 of my 4 records. Next, let's put in 63304, and that will be O'Fallon. And finally, let's put in 63303, and that will be St. Peter's. And I believe that's all of them. So let's select star from zip city state. Oops, I said fro and not from. And there we have that. So now, looking at our employees, we can now drop from here the city column and the state column. All right, so I'm going to alter table, employees, drop column, city. And I'm going to do it one more time. And I'm going to drop column, state. Now if I select star from employees, notice I've cut it down. And I've got now, if I show my tables, I now have 3 tables. So I can select star from departments. I can select star from employees. And now notice that I just have a department number in there and I've got the name just in one place. So I've knocked down the duplication of information. All right. And notice if I select star from zip city state, that now I need some duplication, but I no longer have the city listed in here. I no longer have the state listed in here. So I've done a pretty good job of normalizing my database. All right. So that's it. When I come back again, I'm going to again recreate this database, but rather than doing it from the command line, which is what I've been doing thus far, I'm going to come in here and I'm going to, under MySQL, I'm going to click admin and I'm going to bring up something that's called PHP MyAdmin. Now this may not look like much, but it's more of a GUIized tool. So I'm going to go back and recreate the database. So I'm going to keep ACME in here, but I'm going to create ACME2. And I'm going to create it solely from using it here and putting it into PHP MyAdmin. So that'll be what we'll go through next.